On my previous video on this series of connecting the East and the West, I talked about the Pony Express, which was an ambitious attempt to bring information from the East Coast to the West Coast in as little as 10 days, and you can see that video in the link up top. Today I talk about the Telegraph and an invention that made the Pony Express obsolete overnight with nothing more than a handful of dots and dashes. While the Telegraph changed the world, I'll be focusing mostly on Utah's role. In 1832, Samuel Morse, a professor of art with the University of the City of New York, became interested in the telegraph. In 1835, with the help of Alfred Vail, he devised a system of dots and dashes that we know today as American Morse code. Yep, there's more than one. Because Morse didn't trust the human ear to decode the rapid dots and dashes, a register would emboss the dots and dashes on a strip of paper that passed under a pen on a stylus. The telegrapher would then take the paper and translate it into English. If you look at these defunct poles along the railroad in Springville today, they served the same purpose, but were specifically designed to benefit commerce. While these lines shown here were installed in the early 1900s, their use was the same. The transcontinental telegraph was completed in 1861, 8 years before the Transcontinental Railroad, which will come up in a later video. This initial telegraph followed the stagecoach routes, specifically the Central Overland Route, and was used to exchange trade information and military orders. Multiple companies had received large government subsidies in a race to see who could complete the connection first. The U.S. government was concerned about losing the financial support of California's gold during the Civil War. Fearing it would be lost to the South, it was seen as a national emergency. Before we started to try to span across the country, Morse obtained financial support from the U.S. government in 1843 to build a demonstration telegraph roughly 35 miles in length. It followed the B&O Railroad between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Maryland. The demonstration was complete on May 24, 1844, and the first message was from the Book of Numbers, "What hath God wrought?" Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, things were a little different. In 1837, British inventors William Cooke and Charles Wheatstone patented a system that used 6 wires and controlled 5 needle pointers. Sending an electric current through the correct wire would turn one of the needle pointers on the face, pointing to the intended letter. Europe found that American Morse code was inadequate for non-English text with accents or diacritical marks. Back in the U.S., by 1856, the register with the embossed paper was discontinued and replaced with a sounder. This was because the operators had found that they can listen to the stylus and translate in real time. Construction continued, and on October 18, 1861, at 63 South Main Street in Salt Lake City, the eastern wire was connected to the telegraph office. On October 24th, the west wire arrived, completing the connection from New York to San Francisco. Brigham Young sent the first 2 telegraphs along the completed eastern line. First to J.H. Wade, president of the Pacific Telegraph Company, to congratulate him on the achievement. Next was President Abraham Lincoln, where he said, "Utah has not seceded, but is firm for the Constitution and the laws of our once happy country." Young was attempting to reassure Lincoln that Utah stood by the Constitution and was not ceding from the Union to join the South during the Civil War, with a subtle nod to an increasingly warlike country. Completing the telegraph was an early nail in the coffin of the rugged independent West. Messages didn't take days or weeks, they took seconds. Most importantly, help could be reached quickly. One only has to look at the Mountain Meadows Massacre, which took place in 1857, 4 years before the telegraph was completed. Writer James Haslam had been sent out from Mountain Meadows to get advice from Brigham Young in Salt Lake City, but with a multiple-day ride in each direction, the response came too late, and 120 men, women, and children had been massacred. Although receiving a message more quickly may not have changed the outcome, as fear and unrest had already taken hold of the local population. It didn't come without complications. Unexpected weather beat on the wires, and Native Americans frequently tore the poles down and cut the wires, as they recognized it as a form of federal expansion and military occupation. The American bison also found the telegraph poles to be excellent scratching posts and were responsible for the destruction of miles of telegraph. By 1870, the telegraph could be found everywhere, but was plagued with congestion. The telephone wasn't meant to be a revolutionary new communication. It was supposed to make the telegraph more efficient. Using different pitches for the telegraph signal would allow them to send multiple messages down the same lines, and accidentally discovered voice transmission. Several inventors around the world came up with the same solution almost simultaneously, but Alexander Graham Bell got the credit. The practical upshot of the telephone, they already had the infrastructure. Using the same right-of-way as the telegraph, engineers only had to add additional cross-arms to the existing poles. By 1969, 90% of the households had a landline connected to their home. Shockingly, the first mobile phones showed up around 1946, provided you were fabulously wealthy. And the small town of Callio on the Nevada border didn't receive landline phones until 1986. The invention that truly made the modern telephone was the automated exchange, and it was created out of pure petty revenge. In 1889, an undertaker named Almon Strouger noticed his funeral business was inexplicably losing clients. It turned out that the local switchboard operator was married to his chief rival, and she was secretly redirecting every grieving caller directly to her husband's shop. Determined to remove human bias from the loop, Strouger designed the first automated stepping switch. Instead of an operator manually plugging cords into a board, pulses from the caller's dial sent electrical signals that physically drove mechanical arms in a central office, stepping up and clicking across a grid of contacts to automatically connect the line. Strouger called it the girl-less, cussless, weightless telephone. His mechanical step-by-step switch became the standard operating backbone of global telecommunications for nearly a century, proving that while the telegraph conquered distance, the automated phone line conquered the middleman. The next video in this series is on the Transcontinental Railroad and the driving of the Golden Spike. It might be a little while before I get to it, as most of Utah has been on fire or flooding for the last few weeks, so I really haven't been able to get out and see anything.